2000. Dot-com bubble. The Nasdaq Composite Index reached around 5,048 by March, after years of investments in online companies had surpassed their intrinsic value. When the stock market crashed, businesses such as Pets.com and eToys.com filed for bankruptcy. 2001. September 11th attacks. Members of Al-Qaeda, a jihadist organization led by Osama bin Laden, hijacked 4 American flights on September 11th. In New York City, a plane struck the North Tower of the World Trade Center, followed by a second plane on the South Tower. The remaining planes crashed into the Pentagon and a field in Pennsylvania, ultimately killing 2,977 people. 2002. International Criminal Court. The Rome Statute established the International Criminal Court, with genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity becoming prosecutable. However, several countries including the United States, China, and Russia had not joined the organization. 2003. Iraq War. American-led forces invaded Baghdad in Operation Iraqi Freedom, under the belief that the nation possessed weapons of mass destruction, and overthrew the government of Iraqi President Saddam Hussein. He was captured months later, tried for crimes against humanity, and executed by hanging in 2006. American troops withdrew from the country in 2011. 2004. Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami. A 9.1 magnitude earthquake off the coast of Sumatra generated a tsunami, reaching up to 51 meters or 167 feet. The natural disaster killed around 230,000 people, with roughly 167,000 of those deaths occurring in Indonesia. Other nations such as Sri Lanka, India, and Thailand were heavily affected, causing over $10 billion in damage across the Indian Ocean. 2005. Hurricane Katrina. On August 29th, Hurricane Katrina made landfall as a Category 3 storm. An estimated 1.5 million people evacuated Louisiana, and New Orleans was flooded after the levee system failed. The Gulf Coast region experienced around $125 billion in damages, and at least 1,833 people died. 2006. Lebanon War. Hezbollah members captured 2 Israeli soldiers and killed 3 more, and launched rockets across the border simultaneously. Israeli forces responded with military blockades and offensives into southern Lebanon. Ultimately, the conflict ended after 34 days with United Nations Security Council Resolution 1701. 2007. iPhone. The iPhone was announced by Apple CEO Steve Jobs on January 9th at Macworld in San Francisco, with Jobs stating, "Apple is going to reinvent the phone." A touchscreen device capable of internet access and iPod integration was featured, which was released in June. 2008. Great Recession. Lehman Brothers collapsed with $613 billion in debt, exacerbating an economic recession, primarily caused by a United States housing market crash. The American government subsequently issued bailouts under the Troubled Asset Relief Program, and by October of 2009, the unemployment rate had reached 10%. 2009. Iranian Green Movement. Following the re-election of Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, millions in Tehran protested the results as illegitimate. The government suppressed the Green Movement, including the killing of Neda Agha Sultan, and opposition leaders such as Mir Hussein Mousavi, Zahra Ranavard, and Mehdi Karoubi were placed under house arrest in 2011. 2010. Arab Spring. The self-immolation of Mohammed Bouazizi, after police impounded his goods in Sidi Bouzid, sparked pro-democracy and anti-corruption protests across the Middle East and North Africa, leading to the depositions of Tunisian President Zine Al Abidine Ben Ali and Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak in the following year. 2011. Syrian Civil War. Demonstrations inspired by the Arab Spring were intensified following the imprisonment of teenagers for anti-government messages, and thousands of people later protested across cities. The civil war ultimately led to the overthrow of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad in 2024, resulting in millions of refugees and an estimated 620,000 deaths. 2012. 18th Chinese Communist Party National Congress. Xi Jinping was selected as General Secretary of the Chinese Communist Party at the 18th National Congress, delivering a speech on the China Dream, in which he expressed support for socialism with Chinese characteristics and the rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. 2013. National Security Agency leaks. Edward Snowden, an American whistleblower, exposed National Security Agency surveillance operations for collecting telephone metadata. United States President Barack Obama criticized Snowden's actions, and he was charged under the Espionage Act, and later granted asylum in Russia. However, online companies began introducing encryption measures. 2014. Russian annexation of Crimea. Russian forces invaded Crimea following the removal of Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych during the Revolution of Dignity. The peninsula was occupied by unmarked Russian soldiers, also known as the Little Green Men. A referendum resulted in 97% of voters supporting annexation, considered invalid by the United Nations General Assembly. 2015. Paris Agreement. The Paris Agreement outlined efforts to mitigate the impacts of climate change by reducing greenhouse gases and pledging to limit the global average temperature to well below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. 2016. Brexit referendum. The United Kingdom left the European Union following a national referendum, with the results split. 48% of voters wanted to remain, and 52% preferred to withdraw. Opposition to continued membership focused on immigration and economic issues. Article 50 was invoked the following year, finalizing the exit in 2020. 2017, Rohingya refugee crisis. In August, the military of Myanmar destroyed villages and killed thousands of Rohingya, a Muslim minority unrecognized under the 1982 citizenship law, forcing around 750,000 refugees to cross into Bangladesh, many arriving in Cox's Bazar. 2018, assassination of Jamal Khashoggi. Jamal Khashoggi, a journalist from Saudi Arabia who fled to the United States in 2017, was assassinated at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. Khashoggi had been critical of the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who is believed to have been responsible for the killing, according to the Central Intelligence Agency. 2019, Hong Kong protests. An estimated 2 million Hong Kongers protested an extradition bill that could have granted greater jurisdiction to mainland China. Demonstrators outlined 5 demands for the government, including more political freedom in electing leaders and an end to labeling protests as riots. Hong Kong Chief Executive Carrie Lam later withdrew the legislation. 2020, COVID-19 pandemic. The World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a global pandemic in March, with the first cases appearing in Wuhan. The disease worldwide has caused economic downturn and negatively affected mental health, accounting for around 7 million deaths. 2021, fall of Kabul. The Taliban captured Kabul, the capital of Afghanistan, on August 15th, amid the withdrawal of American troops, and over 124,000 people were evacuated afterwards. Afghan President Ashraf Ghani fled to the United Arab Emirates. The Islamic Emirate was restored, with the government limiting the rights of women and targeting political opposition. 2022, Russian invasion of Ukraine. Russian forces invaded Ukraine after building up military equipment and personnel. Russian President Vladimir Putin claimed that a genocide was committed in Donbass, but no substantiated evidence was presented. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky declared martial law, and the nation received weaponry from the United States and its European allies. 2023, Israel-Hamas war. Hamas launched an attack against Israel on October 7th, capturing 251 hostages and killing 1,195 people. Israeli forces responded with military operations in Gaza, contributing to food scarcity and inadequate shelter for Palestinians. The United States, Turkey, Qatar, and Egypt mediated a ceasefire in 2025. 2024 United States presidential election. Former United States President Donald Trump defeated Vice President Kamala Harris, the Democratic nominee, after the sitting president, Joe Biden, withdrew from the election in July. Trump ran on campaign issues such as immigration, tariffs, and energy. 2025, Armenian-Azerbaijan peace agreement. Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan and Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev initiated a peace agreement to help resolve the long-standing conflict over Nagorno-Karabakh, historically an Armenian majority region within the borders of Azerbaijan that has seen significant displacement of local populations. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. My social medias are in the description, which include my Patreon, Instagram, TikTok, X, and Facebook. All sources and image credits are in the description below.